Welcome everyone to What's Happening in Crypto, exploring all of the latest from the crypto world and beyond. The Australian government is doing its best to ramp up efforts to make George Orwell's dystopian 1984 nightmare a reality. Good on you, mates. The Australian government signed into law last week a bill which would give law enforcement agencies the right to force technology companies to reveal users' encrypted messages. That is devastating to privacy globally. Now, the law would allow for things like covert operations with legal penalties. So essentially, they are allowed to force tech companies to spy on you. That's crazy. And if you are a tech company and you don't want to participate in this, you will get fined or potentially put in jail. Or if you want to tell your customers, hey, the government is forcing us to spy on you, you can get a massive fine or go to jail, because blowing the whistle on these privacy invading situations is a criminal offense now in Australia, which is in of itself devastating that they are now forcing private companies to spy on you for the state. That is absolutely crazy. So if you're a developer and you refuse to acquiesce to the government's requests to either reveal user data or to build tools which allow them to access that user data, well, you're in big trouble. And that is absolutely terrible for liberty and freedom globally, because Australia is part of the Five Eyes Alliance. Now, this is Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, and the UK. So essentially, any of those other four countries can ask Australia to have a little look and see what's going on, essentially. And that, of course, is devastating for all of these countries involved. This really just deals away with so much of what we value in terms of having privacy online. And I know, look, a lot of our privacy is already just given away freely to people like Facebook, but this is the next level because there are people who do care about their privacy. And now, look, unsurprisingly, what is the reason that this is happening? Why has the Australian government taken these draconian and Orwellian measures to invade people's privacy? Terrorism. Wow. Terrorism again, really? Just to give you some numbers here, because numbers can be quite interesting sometimes. Since 9/11 in Australia, 6 people have been the victims of terrorism-related events. Just 6. And so those 6 deaths, and those 6 deaths are tragic, we can't downplay that, but those 6 deaths have forced the government to pass these measures. Now, to put that in perspective for you, in that same time frame, 15 people have been killed by sharks. Sharks are so scary. Actually, I love sharks. Sharks are amazing creatures, and they get a really hard time because they look scary, but they're actually beautiful and amazing animals. But that's more than twice the number of people killed in terrorist-related events. And yet, we don't see the Australian government cracking down on people going into the ocean, do we? No. It's the terrorism monster again. Terrorism is one of the biggest scams that governments are pushing on their citizens globally, because the actual number of terrorist-related deaths is so tiny. It's so tiny. Honeybees kill more people, sharks kill more people, crocodiles kill more people, and that's like really, obscure stuff. If you want to look at Australia, car deaths in that same period of time, 30,000 people. Where's the Australian government screaming that people aren't allowed to drive cars anymore? They should be the biggest proponents of driverless vehicles. No one should be allowed to drive a car in Australia. Look how dangerous it is. Where's the government to protect me now? No, they just want to take away our privacy and, be able to get into everyone's information at any time. The 10th biggest killer in Australia, prostate cancer. Where's the war on prostate cancer? Oh, it doesn't exist, does it? What about the epidemic levels of suicide in Australia between people of the ages of between 15 and 44? It's insane. And yet, your rights and liberties have to be taken away because of the terrorism monster once again. This is really just a giant pile of Orwellian police state BS. And there are people out there that, oh, conspiracy, or governments, and blah, blah, blah. This is real. This is what's happening. And if you don't think that they're going to be abusing the heck out of these powers, well, of course they are. It's what they always do. It's what they've proven that they always do. We cannot trust governments to be, good users of this technology, to be good wardens of this very powerful technology. Look at what Snowden revealed. The US is spying on people to a massive degree. And the official story is, yeah, we're only going to use this, to prevent terrorism and stuff like that. You know what it was mostly used for? Spying on people's girlfriends or corporate espionage. In fact, corporate espionage is one of the primary use cases of this kind of technology. And Australia is no stranger to corporate espionage. They are one of the big players in it, just like the USA is. This is what this kind of technology is going to be used for. It's going to be used to punish regular people. It's going to be used for corporate espionage and for petty BS. Maybe they'll catch a terrorist once in a frickin' blue moon, but it is such a small victory in the fight against terrorism to give up massive amounts of civil liberties. I think the old saying goes, those who give up their security for liberty will have neither. Is that how it goes? Something like that anyway. But it's so true. It's so true. This is not designed to protect you. This is designed to give the state more power. Decentralize everything, guys. This is just such a screaming use case for decentralized networks. Privacy technology in terms of things like Monero or ZenPub or any of these kind of different things, they are going to allow people to anonymously publish things. And right now, Australia has a war on whistleblowers, where if you blow the whistle on certain things, you go to jail. They punish the whistleblowers, not the people doing the crimes. And so we absolutely need decentralized solutions that the government can't shut down, that the government doesn't have access to build these back doors into, where people can go out and publish the dirty crimes of a government without fear of persecution. Globally, we see the same thing playing out as governments against their own people. We continue to empower these people. We continue to let the banks rule over us in terms of predatory lending and all this BS. We continue to give governments the power to imprison us, to crack down on our rights. We give them the power to take our freedoms away. It's a wild situation, and every time the story's the same. The big corporates win, the big players win, the governments win, the politicians win, and regular people, which are the overwhelming majority of society, lose again and again and again. Government's the problem, it's not the solution. We've had this discussion many times before, but it's always worth reminding ourselves the dangers of government and the power of decentralized solutions to take that power back for ourselves, to be in control of our own destiny. Control your own data via decentralized solutions. Publish via decentralized solutions anonymously. That has real power. And that is what's going to move our society forward. Not this kind of BS where governments are constantly trying to take away your freedoms. That doesn't move us into the future. That moves us backwards. That moves us back towards this Orwellian past, which countries like Australia and anyone else in the Five Eyes and others around the world are trying to make our future. That's not my future. I didn't sign up for that future, and I'm pretty sure you didn't sign up for that weird dystopian future either. This is a time and a reminder. Support the decentralized solutions. Support anonymous publishing. Support solutions that allow you to transact financially with other people in an anonymous and free, decentralized, permissionless, and censorship-free way. So important, guys. Anyway, those are just my thoughts on the recent law passed over in Australia. I'd love to know your thoughts about it down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. If you want to know when I put out a new video, hit that notification bell down below. Quick reminder that you are super awesome, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and watch this video today. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.